Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
And I'm Giff.
That's right. It's just the two of us still, everybody. We're waiting on Pete. Pete's doing okay. He's out there. Hopefully he's listening, and we will welcome him back whenever he's ready to come back.
Yes. He's still our editor-in-chief as well.
He is helping out the show. He is a team player.
Yes, he is.
So
sure.
This show will have a slightly different sound to it again tonight because we're doing our memories and draft episode that we start our month out with.
And if we start our month, what
do we got to do first, Gifford? You got to take Pete's job.
We have to open the yearbook, and this month we are opening it to the page 2016.
Oh, yeah.
8 years ago. Yeah.
Which, again, doesn't seem like that long ago, but when you go back and look, it's a while ago, and 8 years is a long time at our age here.
Certainly is.
So we're going to take a little trip down memory lane to 2016, and since we usually we love to put out our draft results and have people vote, and we love to have the three different lists, we are still going to come up with three lists, and we've made a little plan of how to do that in Pete's absence. So
yes.
It's going to sound a little different, but I think it's going to be fun and good. So enjoy as we go. Here we go.
And the other thing we're going to have tonight is we kind of we did this last month as well, where we had the fans vote on a subject for us to do.
True. That'll come towards the end of the show tonight. We'll have the fan involvement again. And it went over really well last time. So hopefully... Mm-hmm. So last week we did Major League. Now that was from the 80s. And of course, people love the 80s, and that we'll see if the voting turns out quite as popular this time when it's a more recent topic.
Yes.
But we'll do our best to pick ones that people might care about. That's our job, to come up with some good topics.
This is true.
All right. So 8 years ago, 2016, Giff, what do you remember? You usually have a hard time remembering things. That's what you say anyway. And then you come up with something great.
I do have a hard time remembering things. And basically what I do is I'm not bad at math. So I just count backwards and see what my kids were doing. So at this point in their lives, Paul was 5, turning 6, and Sam was 10, turning 11. So Paul started the year in kindergarten. Sam was in 5th grade. So this was the 1 year that both of our kids went to the same school. Courtney and I thought we had the tiger by the tail, just having to go to one school for conferences and activities and things of that nature. So that was kind of fun. Paul, of course, this was the first year that we had 2 boys in hockey. So Paul would have been a first-year termite and then a second-year termite. Sam would have been...
Is that what mites is?
Mites is like a head of termites.
Okay, I've heard of mites, but I've never actually heard the term termite in hockey. That's a new one to me.
Evidently, a termite is smaller than a mite. Well, when Sam started, you went through 4 years of mites. And by the time Paul came in, they split it, and he did 2 years of termites and 2 years of mites. And then you go to squirts, and then you go to peewees, and then you go to bantams, and then you go to high school. So,
you know what my favorite is? Squirts.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Absolutely, I get that. So, and the funny thing is, you say how quickly 8 years goes. So Paul would have started this year in his first year of youth hockey, and this upcoming season, he'll be a second-year Bantam in his last year of youth hockey. So that's how far back this one goes. So we had 2 boys in hockey for the first time. Sam went into 6th grade at the end of this year, so into the middle school, a new school for him. And, of course, this was the year that he started being a 3-sport athlete. So his fall sport this year was cross country. So that was a new adventure for us. Neither Courtney or I are runners, so we don't know how he ended up being a runner, but he did.
Me too. How did I ever do it? I mean, some people just decide to do it, and I hated running until I was 30 years old.
Right. Yeah, I still hate it.
Run 5 marathons, so
yeah,
good for Sam. I also have quit now. I hate it again, so there you go.
So I say my memory's bad. I don't remember anything that I had really cooking this year. But this was the year of Courtney, because Courtney was right smack in the middle of her master's. Of course, she got her undergrad at University of Minnesota Morris, where she was a cougar.
Is this like the summer of George?
Yes. So she went from being a cougar to a beaver at the University of Bemidji State. So she was right in the middle of that, wanting to quit every day, and me and her mom told her that she couldn't. And the other, what? That's none of your damn business, sir. And the other thing that was huge this year, she had worked on this community project for a very long time, trying to get an inclusive playground built.
I remember that.
And in 2016, she'd finally gotten our Rotary Club behind her, and they broke ground. No, did they break ground on this, or did they open it? No, both. They broke ground and opened the inclusive playground down by Paul Bunyan and Babe in Bemidji.
Breaking and entering.
Yes, exactly. So that is still going strong 8 years later. Very proud of Courtney. She was definitely on a crusade for quite a few years to get that built, and was able to get it done.
Well, that's a good one. I totally remember when she was doing that, and interested in what that meant and looked like, and so that was a good one.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I have for 2016. Brad, how about you?
All right. Well, I told you one of my memories involves you. So This is the year you did too. Kim and I both turned 40, and we had our 15th anniversary. And in honor of all three of those things, we threw this really big party, invited pretty much everybody that we knew. And we made sure, because you were my best man, and we made sure that there was a weekend where we held it where you could visit from your home 4 hours away. And you guys came down and stayed with us, and we're kind of partly the guest of honor. And it was a great, great party, and partially because you were there. I also remember associating with that party. It was like 2 days before that party that Prince died, so I can throw that in too, because I just remember we were all talking about it, and like it's one of those association things.
Mm-hmm.
For our 15th anniversary, we went to California and did something we always wanted to do, which was drive up the entire coast. We had originally kind of talked about going to San Diego first, but we did go to San Diego on our road trip with our kids that I've talked about on a previous episode. So we flew to LAX, it was a lot shorter, and we spent a couple nights in LA, and then we went up the coast and Monterey and Pebble Beach and San Francisco, and eventually went all the way up to the end of Highway 1. There is a point where Highway 1 ends, and then you're not out of California yet or anything, but like it turns into a different road, and it's off the coast and everything. So we turned around there, and that's right near where the big drive-through redwood tree is. And we went through the tree, and we got a picture there, and then we went back down to San Francisco again and saw my cousins who live in that area. And it was just one of the greatest trips we've ever been on. It's just the two of us. And it was beautiful. And it was like, there were mudslides just like maybe 2 or 3 years later, and you couldn't even drive the prettiest part of the coast there. So thank God, that we got out there and did that before anything like that happened. Speaking of big parties, my friend Adam, with a little bit of help from us, other friends of his, but it was all his thing really, through an adult prom. It was a very memorable event that tons of people went to. He actually rented out a ballroom at a hotel, had kegs, had a DJ, and everybody dressed up just like we were going to real prom again. And it was so fun. And I found pictures of that. That was from this year. This is the year my parents moved out of my hometown of Tyler and moved to Burnsville. So that was a big deal. But also then associating with that, this is the last time I ever played in the Abelskever tournament. So we have Abelskever days in our hometown, and there's a big golf tournament. And me and two of my friends had played in it for 10 years or more, probably more like 15 years, actually. And we had won it once, but this was going to be probably the last time I ever played it. And we didn't win the whole tournament, like the best score, but there's different flights, and you get placed in a shootout, and we got lucky to win a flight, and then we ended up winning the whole shootout at the end, which was just a fantastic swan song and way to go out, knowing that I probably wouldn't be playing that anymore, and with how meaningful golf is to me in that golf course, it's really perfect. It was really great.
Oh.
This is the year my son Isaac graduated from Cub Scouts and became a Boy Scout, which is kind of funny to look back on because he has no interest in any of that anymore, but it was a great thing at the time, and he truly loved it, even if he wouldn't admit it. So he graduated from Cub Scouts. Two more big things yet. It's all these things I found. The Ryder Cup was held in Chaska at Hazeltine, the Europe
Oh, that was
versus
that year?
USA versus Europe
Oh.
golf tournament, and I attended that with a couple, with my brother and brother-in-law, and actually our cousin from Denmark who was here, and so he was kind of rooting for the Euros while we were rooting for the USA, and it was just a great time. And then finally, so I've been teaching for 25 years, and in 2016, I had kind of the highest thing that'll ever happen to me as a teacher, because you don't get a lot of accolades and you hear a lot of shit all the time. But I did win the Teaching Excellence Award for my district that year.
Wow.
And I will never forget that, because that was awesome. And it's nice to get recognized, along the way at some point. And so I think
Nice.
I'm decent at my job, and it was nice to have that. And that was in 2016 as well. So all these great things happened that year. It was a really wonderful year. So when I started looking at these memories, I'm like, wow, this is one of the best years that we've talked about, actually.
That's excellent. Nice job, Mr. Sorensen.
Yeah, thank you. That covers it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That was a lot of good stuff. Yeah, I completely forgot about that party, and now you bring it up. And yes, of course, I remember coming down for that. And
40, and people were doing keg stands late in the night, and it was a great time.
It really was.
Fun night.
Yes, it was. Sweet. Well, we are going to get into picking music first. So in a ceremony before we started recording, I got first draw on music. And then, so Brad and I are going to pick, or we're going to draft our top 5 music. And then once we're
starting
done
with this, because this is going to be the hardest list
Yes.
for. I have a pretty decent list, but it's stuff that's specific to me, which is not very much mainstream. And Gifford, as people would know if they've listened to the show, basically stopped listening to music in about 2000. So if something from 2016, he's going to have to look. It's not going to be like a great list, and he takes a while to put it together. So
I certainly do.
But we did come up with enough, and we're each going to draft our 5. And then what's going to happen now is we're going to still put together a third list in honor of Pete, where we're going to go back and forth and pick like the best of what's left. And we're going to have a leftover list. And I guess we'll find out if when they vote on Twitter and such, if that list actually is chosen ahead of both of ours, and we find out that ours suck.
How great would it be if the leftover list just cleans house?
I wouldn't be surprised, especially in the music category. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, and the fact that it's basically Pete's list.
And he never wins.
Pete would hardly ever win a poll. So,
Pete. See, we're working for you, Pete. We're keeping you alive. We're trying to get you some recognition here.
We're doing the best we can here. All right. So with the number 1 pick for 2016 in music, again, I picked songs. I do have an album on here, but I'm going to pick this song. It was everywhere. It came out, was released May 6th. It was the theme song for Trolls from Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop the Feeling.
Can't Stop the Feeling, Justin Timberlake.
Well, and again, at this point, I've got, a 5-year-old.
I know, that's a big one. That was like the big song of the year. I have this thing with those movies. I've never seen a Trolls movie, and they disgust me. They look like the worst movies that have ever been made in the history of the world to me, and I cannot watch them. And so even the music with them, I'm like, I can't handle it. So,
well, if you would have seen 5-year-old Paul bouncing around the house singing, parts of the song, I mean, it melts your heart. So yeah, I'm putting that high on my list.
All right. Well, I did have 2 albums that came out this year that were these are 2 really, really great albums that I love. And I don't even know which one to pick. These are both bands that we have discussed before. Although, Gifford, you weren't on one of them that we did. So I'm wondering if, maybe we should pick this later and I could introduce you to them. But I'm going to pick Green Day first. Green Day came out with Revolution Radio. So we talked about American Idiot about 2 months ago. I will go to my grave saying that Revolution Radio is the most underappreciated, under-listened to album. It's great. It's as good as anything they've ever done, in my opinion. And so that's my number. And I saw them in concert this year. That's another thing. I saw them. No, actually, it was 2017. But I saw them in concert for the first time on this tour, and I mean, they just killed it. It was so great. Mm-hmm. So, Revolution Radio. That's my pick.
That is excellent. So I am going to go with a song that came out, I have it here, October 7th. "24 Karat Magic" by Bruno Mars.
All right. Kind of like a little Bruno Mars here and there.
I do as well.
All right, so my second pick is easy because I know you wouldn't pick this. So the other band that we've discussed, but was way back, like the third month we ever produced, and you weren't on that one. It was just me and Pete. Is The Head and the Heart, and they put out Signs of Light, which is also, I mean, so when we did our episode, we did it on the album. Oh my God, Let's Be Still. That's the name of it.
Mhm.
Because there's so many songs I love on there, and that's kind of where I was truly introduced to the band extensively. But this was their next album, and this probably would be, I would think, probably their most like popular album and maybe somewhat most accessible album too. I think you'd really like it. So I love it. It's great. And we saw them at Red Rocks the next year do this tour with our kids, and that was fantastic. So
Sweet.
after this, it's good. It kind of goes anywhere now. What do you got
Right.
next?
Well, I am going to go with the song that came out January 22nd, "When We Were Young" by Adele.
I feel like I've heard the title of it, but I'm not even sure what that song is or how it goes.
You would know it if you heard it. Let's just put it that.
I mean,
And
I know
again,
a lot of her songs, but that one just is not ringing a bell to me.
well, and again, like
Or Adele.
I went through and like if I recognized a song, I would write it
It's on
down.
my list.
Right? So I've got a lot of stuff on my list that I mean I just recognize it, but I do that so far the three songs that I picked, I really do like those songs. So I mean they're easy for me to throw down here.
Yeah, and even though you don't listen to any music, you're going to run away with this poll if it's just the two of us, because mine are much more specific to me, and you've got the popular songs.
We got Pete's list coming up here yet.
Well,
too,
I'm saying not counting that one yet. I don't know where that one's going to go.
Sure.
My next pick is another band that I love, and actually they opened for The Head and the Heart at that concert at Red Rocks, and then I also saw them open for them again in Minneapolis, and that is Group Love. They have a song that you would definitely know called Tongue Tied. But they had an album called Big Mess that came out that year. Ton of good songs on it, and I saw them in concert. I'm a big fan of Group Love. That's my third pick.
Excellent. All right. I am going to go with Meghan Trainor's Me Too. Came out May 5th.
You know what? I actually really like that song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board with that one.
Excellent.
I don't like her, though. I have a hard time liking it because I feel like there was some time not that long ago that I saw her really say some really rude things about teachers, and it really turned me off about her.
Mm-hmm.
But, guilty pleasure, I love that. That's my favorite song of hers, and it's not even close. So
Okay.
All right, my next one is another band. I'm sure this is one you would never have heard of, but they're a great band from the UK. A band that my nieces fell in love with and introduced to the rest of us. They have a great, they sound like a 90s alternative band a lot of times. I mean, they're a great band. I've seen them in concert twice as well, and that is Catfish and the Bottlemen. And their album from that year was The Ride.
Excellent.
I think that one you'd probably like too, Giff.
I'm sure I would.
It's very upbeat, very 90s sounding, just a really fun band.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick three ladies in a row here from April 15th, Just Like Fire from Pink.
Okay, I know that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would have thought that was older because I feel like I haven't heard from Pink in so long that
Sure.
song would have seemed older to me.
Spans a lot of time, Pink. She's excellent career.
All right, I have one more album on my list, and then I have some songs. I'm going to skip to a song. Actually, I guess the album I do think the album came out this year. There's one song in particular that really stood out. I have the Strumbellas and the song Spirits. You'd know this one probably. I got guns in my head and they won't go. I got spirits in my head and they won't go.
Uh-huh.
You'd know that song.
I'm sure I would. I'm toe tapping right now.
Anyway, their album Hope came out, and I do know some other songs on it, but I'm picking the song Spirits because it was a big song. It's been a song on TikTok too and everything lately. I mean, so it's kind of a really well-known song.
Okay.
All right.
All right. That wraps up our list. So now we are going to throw together a list for the third list.
Best of the rest.
Yes, in honor of Pete. So in honor of Pete, I'm going to take a song that represents two of his greatest qualities, and that is from Tim McGraw, came out January 20th, and that is Humble and Kind. When I think of Pete, I think of humble and kind.
I have certainly never heard of that song before.
Oh, I bet you have.
I bet I have.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
All right, well, I'm going to keep it in the country realm here, although Christmas. So one of my favorite country artists, and I don't even know if she's really considered country anymore or not. She is, I guess, but she kind of, she's branched out, is Casey Musgraves. I adore her. She's great. But she put out a Christmas album this year called A Very Casey Christmas, and it's just a fantastic Christmas album. And so that's my pick.
Excellent. All right, I have got a little bit of a duet here, April 29th, from Calvin Harris and Rihanna. This is what I came for.
This is what I came for. Again, I do not have a clue what that is. Calvin Harris and Rihanna. I have heard of Rihanna. I know her. Super Bowl.
Yep.
All right, my next pick. You know what? Since I only have one left, I'm going to go with something that's more in the pop realm. I have a couple other choices, but I'm gonna pick my pop. Wait a minute, it's from 2015. I guess I can't. Why did I put 2015 in parentheses here?
This is Pete's list, so it works.
I think it was a big song during this year. It was on the charts, but when I looked it up, it came out. So I had it as like my backup pick. I'm not going to pick it. I guess I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to pick Cage the Elephant, a band I really, truly love, and I'm going to go see next month. Their album came out in 2015, but the single Trouble was released in 2016. So I'm taking Cage the Elephant, Trouble. Excellent. You might know that one too.
I might.
What are you going to round out this music list with?
We are going to go with the Chainsmokers. July 29th, they released Closer.
Which one is that?
I can't think. I got
the only one I know is the one with Coldplay. I don't even know their other songs, so I didn't know if that was.
Trying to remember how it goes here.
That's not the Coldplay one though, so I don't know.
No quizzing me on music from.
I might have heard that. It's very possible that if you played that for me, I would know that one. I don't know it by the. All right, so that's a good varied list. I've got the albums, you got the songs. We got a list of what's left. I do have two other things listed. I only had 9 total. A band I like is Saint Motel, and they had a song called Move. I bet that's one you'd know too. And then the one that's from 2015 but was big during this year is Selena Gomez, Same Old Love. And I actually really, really like that song by Selena Gomez. So I had it as my last choice. That technically does not qualify.
Sure. I had a few. I had a few others. I had Work by Rihanna. Work. Anyway, that's my Rihanna impression. No by Meghan Trainor, another song by her this year.
I know that one.
Let me see what else I got.
My kids were really into her back then. Like I knew a lot of her stuff because my kids had her CD. So I was very versed in Meghan Trainor at this time.
Right. Well, and I like her music. It's fun. It's poppy. Courtney listened to it a lot, so that's where I was hearing it was on her in her car. And then a couple more. I got Starving from Haley Steinfeld and Somewhere on a Beach by Dierks Bentley.
Oh, no clue. I know Haley Steinfeld as the actress, but I do not know that song.
All right. So moving along into the television.
And I'm first on this one.
You are.
I got my number one picked ready. Now there's so many good because there's streaming shows now that you can add and mix in the network and the streaming. So it's really tough to kind of pick where to start. But one of the last great sitcoms that I watched was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and that was in its heyday at this time. So I'm picking Brooklyn Nine-Nine first.
Excellent. And I was not watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine at this time, I don't believe.
Have you watched it?
I've watched probably the first half or 3/4 of the first season.
God, that's all. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it's funny,
Yeah,
but there's so much stuff out there.
I know, but
Yeah.
Captain Holt. I mean, Andy Samberg first, and then Captain Holt is the greatest character.
Captain
I mean,
Holt
he's
is
like
pretty
he's a
solid.
Ron Swanson level,
Mhm.
George Costanza level, whatever you want to say, character. He is just incredible. Andre Brower, rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. All right, I'm going with what I think is a clear number one for this year. Debuted this year, was all a buzz, pumped Netflix up to no end, and that is Stranger Things. Debuted
We
this year.
were talking about that before we started, and I couldn't believe that show is actually this old.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it you said is correct.
And that is going to be my pick for this month. We are going to be covering that.
Stranger Things will be
during
one
the
of our
month.
episodes coming
Yes. Mm-hmm.
probably in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Good timing, because it's coming back pretty soon, right? Have they set a date yet?
I haven't even seen a trailer yet.
I know. I
Let's
keep
see.
hearing that it was coming, but then it just disappears again. It's like the most mysterious.
IMDb has
thing.
it coming out in 2025.
Oh, okay then. I guess
So
not.
these kids are going to be getting
Herp
Social
cards.
Security by the time the last season comes out.
All right, I did have that on my list. For my second pick, and then I also have a couple shows that I watched later that were on at this time, so I'll probably leave those off my list. That's a one way to narrow it down. You know what? My next one is not really going to be a show that I would normally pick, but at this time, me and my kids watch this every week together, and it was so fun to have a show. It's the last show that the three of us actually, because Kim was always at work, and the three of us actually would sit and watch, and they watched it with me, and they enjoyed it before they all grew up and did their own thing, and that was America's Got Talent. And so it is a good show. It's very repetitive when you watch it every year, but at this time, it was a huge part of my life with my kids.
All right. My number two, I held out for so long on this show. Kind of thought I was cool not being in with the cool kids watching it. You know, it's almost like didn't want to watch it, but I finally gave in and I started watching and binged watched all these seasons. The 6th season of Game of Thrones came out this year, and I was full bore into it. So that is my number 2 pick for TV.
All right, and follow up. We did an episode on that last year, and you tried to get me to watch it, and I did start watching with my son, and we have gotten into the second season. We're close to the end of the second season, but I'm not sure if we'll ever watch another episode together or not, because he's going to go to college. But we've been working on it.
It's good times, and now I'm into the House of the Dragon, watching that every week. They got their second season on now.
All right, I'm gonna pick. Okay, so I'm gonna pick another one. This is another show that I quit watching. I really couldn't stand it after I think 2 years, but I watched it with my wife, and we really, really loved it. And I think this is the year it debuted, so that would have meant it was good. And I was watching it, and then she continued to watch it, and I would see it on, and we kind of make fun of it, but she watched it to the end, and that's This Is Us. Kind of going off my normal script here. I'm picking ones though that these were meaningful shows to me and somebody in my family. We really love that show for a season. That was a really cool show. Yeah, I got tired of it pretty fast, but
did you? And Courtney is a huge fan of that show, and I just never got into it with her. So, all right. So my third pick, this is the follow up to arguably one of the greatest shows ever on television. And this is the second season of Better Call Saul.
So that would be one that I watched later.
Right. And so I'm not picking a few things that are awesome because I don't think I was watching them now. So this might be the list that Pete pulls off because I'm.
Well, yeah, we'll see what we have left over.
Yeah.
I have two shows in particular that we've discussed on this show that I'm not going to pick because I didn't watch them until after this year.
Yep, me too.
All right, my next pick, I'm going to go. Now I'm going to move into the streaming realm, and I'm going to pick a show that was from Amazon. It's one of the funniest shows. I think there's only 18 episodes. Was it 3 seasons, 6 episodes each? And it was Rob Delaney, comedian, and Sharon Horgan, this hilariously funny Irish woman, and they did a show called Catastrophe on Amazon. And well, my wife and I watched that together too. It is such a great snapshot of couples like living together with somebody else. They get thrown together. So he like goes to Ireland and he meets her on work and he gets her pregnant and he ends up moving there and living with her, and then that's kind of how the show goes.
I think
Pete's
Courtney watched that.
Pete's watched it. I bet she has. You would love it. That's a show you could binge easily. That's what I'm going to say, Gifford, you should put above all your other lists there, because I know you'd like it, and it is that good.
Excellent.
Courtney might even want to watch it again.
She might. All right. My fourth pick, we covered this on the podcast. I was watching this at the time, week by week, and loving every minute of it. And that is Life in Pieces. The end of season 1 and beginning of season 2 was 2016.
So that is one of the two shows that I didn't pick because I didn't watch it until like 2020, 2021 is when I watched it. Based on your suggestion and my brother-in-law and sister as well. And it was great. And I watched it. We binged that whole thing right through. That's a great show.
I loved him.
I love so many of them. Yeah, he's great.
Right.
And now I'm gonna pick. I got a lot of options I could pick here. I'm gonna pick a show from cable that I was watching every week. This would have been probably like the second and third season, and that is You're the Worst. Brought that up a few times on this show before, and that's one where towards the end of I think it was 5 seasons, and towards the end it was kind of like, okay, let's get this over with. But for the first few seasons, I mean, I couldn't stop watching it. It was great.
Because you brought it up as much as you have, I actually started rewatching that.
Rewatching, wow.
Yeah, because I watched it when it first came out, and after you mentioned it one time and said, "Oh my God, that first episode was pretty risque," and I'm like,
"Yeah, like how is this on TV?"
And I'm like, "Oh well, I remember them being, they're the worst, and I remember sex being a big, subject in that show." But yeah, that first episode, there's a lot going on in the first episode, so yeah, it's a good one to go back to. All right. So I am going to go with a network show. A lot of the shows that I have on here are early in their runs. And this is one that debuted this year, and that is The Good Place.
Oh, that's what I was just going to pick for Pete for my first pick there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was watching that too. That was on my list. But you took it, so It's yours.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to pick our leftover list for Pete. Since I can't have The Good Place, I'm going to pick Modern Family for Pete.
Okay.
Modern Family. I don't know what season this was, but I'm pretty sure I was still watching it because that show went on to like 2020 something, didn't it? I mean,
yeah, I think it's 11 seasons.
I'm sure it was great still, and I was watching it every week. So that's I could have picked it for myself.
Right. All right. So this was a show that I had highlighted, but I told myself I would not pick it because I did not watch it at this time. I believe Pete made it as one of his picks 1 month.
This is my other one that I was talking about.
Yep. And this is the second season of Schitt's Creek.
Yep. That's a pretty good list. Modern Family and Schitt's Creek.
Mm-hmm. We're doing what we can for you, Pete.
All right. I'm going to pick a show that another streaming one. This was on, I believe it was Showtime. And then eventually I think it was on Netflix too. It's Matt LeBlanc. And I didn't watch like the first season when it came out. I heard about it, but I think by this time I had started getting the Netflix discs. I was still getting those back then. And it's the show called Episodes. And it's so good. It's so funny. And he is it's such a great character. It's so different from Joey. And he's great. And it's a really cool, different show. And again, being a streaming type show, it can do, or Showtime, and for that matter, it can do a lot of other stuff. So,
well, he plays himself, right?
That's true. He
Yeah.
does play himself, but it's just
Yep.
I kind of forgot. But
Yeah.
but still, even though he's playing himself, it's a great. The setup of the show is great because he.
Yep.
I don't know. It's great. I liked it a lot.
All right. So I don't know if Pete ever watched this show, but I really, really enjoyed it. There's so many good episodes, kind of an anthology series. Season 3 of Black Mirror came out this year.
No, I think
It-
Pete actually did like that show quite a bit.
And in particular, the it's only a 6-episode season. That 6th episode with the bees, like they were like little robot bees because we killed all the bees in the world and we needed bees to pollinate things. That episode, in my opinion, is one of the best top 2 episodes in that whole thing. So I'm taking 3rd season of Black Mirror.
I don't remember that episode. I did watch some of that show.
Hmm.
All right, then for my last pick to close this out, this was a show that was only on for 2 seasons, but it was really funny. This was a really underrated network sitcom show. I'm trying to remember. It's John Lithgow. I'm sure it was John Lithgow. I'm trying to remember who else was in it. It was this small town and it was called Trial and Error. Did you ever watch that, Gifford?
I've heard of it, but no, I never did watch it.
And it was this courtroom type show, this law show, but they were just bumbling so many of the people in it. It's really good. It was really funny actually, and it made it 2 seasons. So that's my last pick there.
Excellent. I think that's
What else?
that's a pretty solid list. Wasn't that 5?
Yeah. What else do you have?
Oh, I'm sorry. What else do I have? Okay,
Got a
so season 1, I really enjoyed this. First season of Westworld came out. I think it was on HBO. That was a lot of fun. Kind of an odd show, The OA. Courtney and I watched that. That was the first season there. Big Bang Theory, I was still watching. There was a mini series, The Night Of, which was really good. I think
I remember hearing about that show.
I think it was a 10-episode miniseries. That was really good. Fleabag. This was the first season of Fleabag, which was super funny. I think that's like a 6-episode per season situation. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I think this might be the first year or maybe the 2nd season of the new Late Show. And then a show that I did not watch at this time. I got into it more later on when I finally subscribed to Hulu. And I love it, and that is Letterkenny. This was the first season of Letterkenny.
Oh, this is the first season, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked. So you weren't watching it yet? I'm shocked you didn't pick that.
Well, I didn't start watching it till, I binged it like crazy probably 4 years ago.
Okay. All right, I don't have too many left here. There was another Netflix show that only lasted for 2 seasons, and me and my wife just loved it. It was Will Arnett, and she loves Will Arnett. Like, she's got a big thing for him. It was called Flaked, and he was like this alcoholic living in Venice Beach in California. And it was out the same time that we were on that trip I brought up, and we actually were watching it on that trip. We went to Venice Beach. We were watching it in San Francisco on our way back. We both just thought that was one of the best shows, and it didn't last long. Mm-hmm. There was a show on for a few seasons called Love on Netflix, and it had Paul Rust. He's a pretty funny, kind of nerdy comedian type guy. And then it was Britta from Community. I think she was in it, and a couple other people you'd probably recognize. Like several comedians were in it. That was a funny show. And then Aziz Ansari's show Master of None on Netflix was also out at this time, and I watched that as well. That was a pretty cool show because that was very different. It was funny, but it was like very, I don't know, like it seemed like higher class. Like it was this different kind of show that you might expect.
Sure.
All right, on to movies.
All right, and I get the first pick here. All right.
And I got some bangers on the top of my list here. This was a great year for movies.
This is a pretty solid year. So in my opinion, the sequels to the original Star Wars trilogy aren't all that great. But there was a standalone movie that came out this year, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and it is absolutely awesome. Love that movie, so that's going to be.
Not going to argue with that. Pick. That's probably my favorite Star Wars movie as well. Not being the big Star Wars guy, but it's so good. That's a great movie. All right, I'm going to pick the movie that won the Academy Award and then didn't win the Academy Award, but I think should have won it. The first time I watched La La Land in the theater, I smiled for 2 hours. I love Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Mm-hmm. I love the music. I'm not even that big of a musical guy, but like I loved the music in it. I love Elle. I mean, that whole setting is just, that's right for me. Yep. My wife loved it. My daughter loved that movie. It was like the big movie of the year to me, so I'm picking La La Land.
It was the big movie of the year. It
didn't win. The Moonlight won the Best Picture, so.
Right. Yep. And I did not see Moonlight. I still haven't seen Moonlight. I probably should.
Watched it once, and I don't know. I kind of felt I missed the hype, or I didn't pay enough attention, or something, because it was no La La Land to me.
Sure. My number 2 pick, a movie that I love. We're breaking into the superhero movies here, and that is Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool.
Right. I have never seen those movies.
The first one is absolutely phenomenal, and of course we've got the new one coming out here. I think
it'll be out when this airs, yeah, but it's coming out in 2 days actually.
Yep.
Okay, for my next pick, I'm going to pick one that I think I might snipe from you because I know you might pick it, and so I want it on my list, and I'm going to jump one of my other choices for Hacksaw Ridge. Because I just watched it not long ago again, and my Lord, that movie is so good. So what a story. Just the story of that guy and Andrew Garfield is, and then Vince Vaughn is.
Vaughn, yeah.
It's great. Such a great movie. And I mean, Mel Gibson may be problematic, but he made a hell of a movie there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hell of a show. Okay.
I would have picked that for Best Picture too over Moonlight, in my opinion.
I am going to go with an Amy Adams flick here, and that is Arrival. About aliens coming to town.
But I never did watch that.
That was fun.
All right, now I'm going to pick my choice for the month. I'm going to give away the secret of what we're going to talk about next week. And so I brought up Andy Samberg once already with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Mm-hmm. So last year we did Walk Hard, which I think is one of the greatest comedies. Well, I'll just say ever, whatever. But in the last 20 years, one of the greatest music, biopic, just satires. A close second to that to me is Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to watch this again. I can't wait to talk about it with you. The first time I saw it, I was like, I know this is probably going to be kind of stupid. And then I watched it. I'm like, holy shit, this is funny. And the music is great. Just like in Walk Hard, the music is just, it's great. And you shouldn't expect anything less from the Lonely Island guys. I mean, because of all the SNL digital shorts. I mean, they know how to write music. So Pop Star is number 3, and we will talk about it next week.
Excellent. All right. Again, I love this. I loved the superhero movies back at this time, basically up through Endgame, and then I kind of just started falling off. But Captain America: Civil War came out this year. A lot of the main characters are in it, and I just really enjoyed it.
All right, so I got my top 3, and then Rogue One was actually my number 4 on the list here. And after that, there's a lot of movies I like a lot. I'm gonna take The Nice Guys. Because I love Ryan Gosling and I love Russell Crowe too. And to see him in a comedy movie, and he hasn't done a lot of movies or a lot of maybe likable stuff for a long time, so this was a fun one, and I love those two together, and that was a great movie. The Nice Guys, number 4.
Excellent. All right, last pick here for me. I've got 2 highlighted. So one of them is going to go to Pete unless Brad takes it. I'm going to go with one of our American treasures, Michael Keaton, and that is he was in The Founder, basically the story of McDonald's.
Well, okay, so either you made a mistake or I just blanked on that one because I should have it on my list. I love that movie.
Well, let me double check. I might have.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I probably just must have somehow missed it. I thought that movie, when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, kind of like Popstar, like this will be okay. It was so good. It is so entertaining, and of course he's great. We all love Michael Keaton here.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, did you check it? Are you okay?
Yep, we're good. I'm just looking for the actual date, but it is 2016. January. Okay. Oh, wait. Then I go down to release date. So up on top it says 2016. And when I looked it up on Wikipedia, it had The Founder in there. But then you go down to the bottom and the release date on here says January 20th. So now I may have to pick a different.
Of 2017?
2017.
Because that's like the list I send out that we use that list every movie that came out during the year. I don't think it was on there. That's why
Well, and I just go to Wikipedia and look up the list of movies for 2016.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that was on there, so I wrote it down.
Well, I could let you keep it, or if you feel like it's a asterisk, you can pick a different one.
Then I look on Google, it says 2016. If I click on just the thing from Wikipedia, it says The Founder, a 2016 American film. And then release dates in Hollywood was December 7th of 16. United States was January 20th of 17.
Well, you got a Hollywood in there. We'll give it to you.
Okay. That's weird because, the list I had it on, it was, okay. All right. Well, we're done with that. Let's move on to
I'm sure it probably came out somehow in Hollywood because they wanted it to be like probably, eligible for Academy Awards. That's
that year or something. Yeah.
But usually that's still the release date you find. So I don't know. That's weird. Mm-hmm. I'll give it to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. For my last pick, God, there's so many good ones here that I'm going to pick a movie that I think everybody loved. It's down my list, but I don't really have them ordered. This was a big movie, and everybody loved this movie, and it was up for a lot of awards. It's a feel-good movie. It's a great story. Hidden Figures.
Yeah, got it on my list.
I feel like that's a pretty harmless movie to pick because it's kind of like Tom Petty. It has no haters, right? We talked about that a long time ago.
Yep, for sure. What I remember, other than watching the movie, but I remember at the Academy Awards, everybody kept referring to this movie or Fences as Hidden Fences. Do you remember that?
No, not really.
We have two movies where the primary characters happen to be black, and we're just going to combine the two, even at the Academy Awards. I thought it was just like, oh my God, seriously, what are we doing here? So that's a great pick. I got it on my list as well.
All right, you're leading off the best of the rest list.
All right, so the last one I have highlighted here is Hell or High Water. Kind of in the vein of No Country for Old Men.
Who was in that? I kind of remember the title, but I never saw it. Or
let's see here. Wasn't that Jeff Bridges?
He was in that too. True Grit is what I'm thinking.
Chris Pine.
Okay.
Ben Foster's in it. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm going to go opposite genre of that. There was a movie series, 2 movies that came out that I thought were just hilarious during this decade, and it had one of my favorite actresses, Rose Byrne, in it. Neighbors 2, the sequel came out, and I think Neighbors is hilarious, and I thought this was pretty close to as good.
Excellent. All right, I am going to pick a movie that I don't know if Pete saw it. My guess is he probably did because
not really Pete's lists. We don't have
but it's in honor of Pete. And I know his wife saw it. Let's put it that way. Jason Bourne came out this year, and Jenny is a massive fan of the Jason Bourne series, so my guess is Pete probably also saw it.
So, I can't to have all those and then have a movie just called Jason Bourne. Was it Matt Damon still, or was it like a new actor?
That's one that he came back for. They had the Bourne Legacy that I believe Jeremy Renner was the
Oh.
main character of, but then they had Jason Bourne and Matt Damon came back for that one.
Seems like Jason Bourne should have been the first movie of the series.
Maybe.
All right, I only have one pick left for the whole night. You know what? I'm gonna mix this up with some Disney and pick Moana, just for fun.
Oh. Excellent.
Why not? I got so many movies I could pick here. I got a long list to go, but I'm gonna put in something different.
Okay. Well, Cal.
Not my list anyway, so what do I care?
Oh, come on. I'm trying to pick the best thing. So now I don't know.
Well, it's still a good pick.
I was going to pick an animated show. So can we go 2 animated shows in a row?
You can. I have another one listed.
I have Finding Dory, and I'm going to go with that.
So we're going to put 2 in a row on there, huh?
Yep.
I guess we'll find out how big our fans are into Disney.
That's the movie that I wanted to put in there, so I'm going with it.
All right. So,
what else you got?
I almost picked another Oscar movie. It was such a hard movie to watch. Michelle Williams and Casey Affleck just were amazing in this movie, Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's one of the saddest
heavy
movies, but so good. Like, so just it's great.
Yep.
There was a movie with, I believe it's Haley Steinfeld, The Edge of 17. It's a really good. I just noticed it's just on Netflix too, by the way. So if anybody's listening, it's a teen kind of, movie, kind of a throwback type, I think, from what I remember. I know it's really good. The Shallows with Blake Lively. My wife and I loved that movie because, of course, she loves sharks.
Well, and I love Blake Lively in a bikini. So there's that.
Speaking of my wife, Bad Moms is a movie that she loved, and I also thought was very funny. It was Aubrey Plaza and can't remember who all was in this. It was Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. Probably funnier than you might have thought. Pretty good movie.
Oh, wasn't it
one of the guys was that guy from Workaholics, I think. I can't think of his name right now.
And the woman from Pitch Perfect, right?
Oh, was it one of them? Okay.
Oh, what is her name?
You think about that?
Anna.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Kendrick.
Brittany Snow. Oh, Anna Kendrick. You're right.
Yeah.
I think she was in it.
Yeah.
That's a bigger name. I should have thought of that one. Office Christmas Party with a whole bunch of people in it. Jason Bateman, Jennifer Aniston. It's pretty funny. 10 Cloverfield Lane. I like the Cloverfield movies. They're really well done.
Yep.
The pseudo sequel to Dazed and Confused, Everybody Wants Some by Richard Linklater came out this year. You never heard of that movie?
No.
It was a very you might want to watch it. It's not really like a true sequel. Everybody Wants Some! Exclamation point.
Okay.
Kind of a camp type movie. I'm almost 100% sure it's Richard Linklater, and it was considered like a spiritual sequel maybe to Dazed.
Right.
So one of those type of things.
Same vein. Yeah.
I got 2 more. Sully with Tom Hanks. And then me and a bunch of teacher friends went and saw the movie Middle School when it came out. And it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
I think you brought that up before on the show too. I think.
So, you got some more?
Yes, I got a few more. Doctor Strange came out this year. I mentioned Fences already. Ben Affleck in The Accountant wasn't half bad. Couple comedies. The Boss with Melissa McCarthy. She is always good for a laugh. And then I've also got Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart. I laughed maybe more than I should have in that movie. And the last one I'm going to mention here, and for the reason of I think it may be the best kill scene, at least for the year, and that is Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. The way he dispatches the final bad guy in that movie is quite impressive. So I'm going to
Who was in
add
that,
it to
Jack
the list.
Reacher? Is that John Krasinski?
Jack Reacher? No, that's Jack Ryan. That's a TV show.
Who's in this one?
That's Tom Cruise.
Oh, it is Tom Cruise. Okay, I thought of that right after I said that. I thought that was pretty stupid.
Oh, and the last one I had was Passengers. That's with
I think that's a terrible movie with
Yeah.
Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, two people I love, but that did not work. Okay. Oh.
Fair enough. Maybe I should have not put it on the list then.
No, you can mention it. It's
yeah.
fine. You didn't pick it.
No, I didn't. And I didn't pick it for
Okay,
Pete.
so now I don't even know how I'm going to pick, but we're each going to pick two. So I picked Popstar, you picked Stranger Things. We're each going to pick, to replace Pete's choice, since he's not here to pick a choice for this month. We're going to pick two things each that are like honorable mentions for us. We're going to put these four out as a poll, and we're going to let you vote, and hopefully we'll get some good response to the vote. And that's kind of like we did this week with this month with Major League. That's going to be our last choice for the month. Mm-hmm. So I get to pick first. We're going back and forth here. I don't even know where to begin with this. Should I pick something that you think Pete would like? Should I pick something I want to do? Should I just pick something that I think people would like? I don't know what people like. You never know. It always surprises me what people get into.
I go with my heart, and usually that works for me.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do that, and it means it's probably going to be something that you pick that's going to get picked. I'm going to pick La La Land. I love that movie so much, and it was a huge movie that year, and I think even though it's not, the true, I think it'd be really fun to talk about. Like, there's the music to talk about, there's the great actors. So screw it. I'm going to pick that one. That's my first choice.
Excellent.
If I didn't pick Popstar, that's probably my true second favorite thing of the year. So I guess that's what I'm picking.
Yep. Well, and I'm going to pick my second thing of the year. I did not take this first in my movies. I took it second. I took Rogue One first because I thought you might take that. So I'm going with Deadpool. I love that movie.
I bet that wins.
I'm not sick of Ryan Reynolds talking to the camera and the snide comments that it kind of seems like that's his whole shtick now. It was kind of fresh. It was new. I didn't know anything about Deadpool. I love that movie when it came out. So that's my first pick here.
I'm going to predict very likely that's going to win. And I'm going to watch it now because I haven't seen it before. So.
You don't know that.
No, we don't know that. That's just my prediction. All right, I don't want to pick another movie. I want to mix it up. So for my next pick, there's a TV show I want to pick. But I'm going to pick Catastrophe. I'm going to, it's not going to win, I'm sure. But if it does, I want you to watch it. And it'll be a great excuse for you to watch it. So I'm going to pick Catastrophe because I know how good the show is.
Okay.
I believe in it.
All right. Well, I am going to take not my pick. I'm going to take your pick.
Oh, wow.
Yes. We're going to inundate our fans with Ryan Gosling. And I'm going to pick
the nice guys.
I'm picking the nice guys.
Okay, I take it back. I feel like that could win.
That could win. Absolutely.
It's going to be one of your two. There's zero doubt it's going to be one of your two.
That is, I was pretty bummed when you got that as your pick. So I want that included. So we are going to put that on the list for the month. It'll be
interesting to see how this vote goes. And maybe what we could do is if it turns out like there's two that kind of get more votes, maybe we could do a second round and then take those two and do it again.
See how it goes.
Let's have to see how it goes.
What I hope wins is the nice guys, because I'm like that coach who says, I can beat you with my guys or I can beat you with your guys and you have my guys. So I'm going to win with your pick.
Hold strategy, Cotton.
See how it pays off for him.
All right. Well, it's going to be a fun month. Truly, this is not an old year. This doesn't fit like, as much of the nostalgia that we love. But to me, there are just the topics we just talked about. This is just a great year. When I made my list for this year, preparing for this one, I'm like, Jesus, this is one of my favorite years that we've done, actually.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have some good response to this one.
A lot of great stuff.
Hey, Gifford.
Hey, what?
What band turned 40 in 2016?
You know what? That would have been Preacher Row.
4 decades in, those guys were already. Yep.
Mm-hmm, they sure were.
All right, let's listen to them. Enjoy the month. See ya.
See ya. Thanks for listening.
1, 2, 3. No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your song is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. And start to me on my back. I turn and I look to you. I'm scared but there's nothing I can do. Hang high if you want to.